Why so?
Because when people jump and challenge for the ball, as he did in the first half, where he got a yellow card as well, he's only trying to use his arms for leverage and trying honestly to win the ball. And the fact that your arm happens to brush across the face of an opponent, I fear that's always likely to happen if both players are making an honest attempt to win it. I'm just surprised, really, to be honest, that you have to sit here and say these things as if you are some monster who wants everything to go his way. I honestly believe that decisions like that and setting off like that in games like the one we've just played are ruining the game of football. That's what I believe. How
do you feel then that the referees managed to get that so wrong, in your opinion?
I've said enough now. Referees referee, they make decisions. They make their decisions often given some of the rules they're obliged to follow, which I'm not always particularly in favour of. But I've said what I've got to say. I'm not prepared to go on. Really, I'd much rather talk, actually, about what a good game of football it was and how well we played. And it saddens me that it's all going to come down to a situation where I don't know that I can possibly be expected to say anything other than what I'm saying. And I'm bitterly disappointed to see Christian Benteke given 2 yellow cards for what were, for me, 2 honest challenges to win headers.
Let's focus on something a bit more positive then, and the fact that Benteke got himself on the score sheet, doesn't score many goals, but what do you feel that will do for his confidence now, Roy?
Well, that's positive, isn't it? The fact he scores 3 goals in 3 games, and everyone wants to talk about the fact that he hasn't scored goals in the games previous to that. And secondly, your statistics are skewed anyway, because in my 3.5 years at the club, he's only had one spell, really, where he's played regularly from the start in the team. The rest of the time he's been injured or unavailable. And often, of the games he's played, where you say it's X number of games and no goals, a lot of those games are games where he's only appeared for 5 or 10 minutes at the end of the game. It's not the minutes of football. As far as I'm concerned, football has to be played in the present. That's where it's played. At the moment, it's of no interest to me what Christian Benteke has done in the past at Aston Villa, at Liverpool, earlier at Crystal Palace. The only thing that interests me is what he's doing now for Crystal Palace. And I think he's doing exceptionally well. And his 3 goals have been vital goals and have helped us to 5 points from 3 matches, which when you're Crystal Palace, that's a good return.
Fantastic. Just one final question, Roy. It's actually on subs. I understand that there's a vote going tomorrow about whether to reinstate the 5 substitutes. Can you just give me an overview again of your view on that?
Well, when it came up originally, of course, you look at the situation where you are with your team and the type of squad that you maybe have, and you compare that to some of the teams that have spent an awful lot more money and have, a very big name bench, and you think, I'm not certain that 5 substitutes is going to help us that much. So you vote for your club and your team as what will give you the best chance of surviving in the league, because that's our job. But if now there is a move afoot and people globally in football, in the Premier League, want to add to the number of substitutes, and in particular the concussion one is a no-brainer, but if they want to add to it, and that's the general consensus, I'll be more than happy to go along with it.
Thank you, Roy.
Pleasure.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else would like a question? If you could just raise your hand or the emoji, please. Jack Rosser, please, of the Evening Standard.
Evening, Roy.
Evening.
Before the sending off, it was another sort of performance from you very much on the front foot, which is perhaps a departure from the way you've set up in seasons before. Do you think with the squad you've got now, there's a real confidence in that style of play that you don't have to just sort of sit tight and try and catch people on the break? You can really go for teams now.
It's not what we've been trying to do. So, unfortunately, if that's how you've seen it, then that's how you've seen it. But the way we're trying to play and the way we're playing is the way we've always tried to play. So I don't accept those things. I think a lot of the judgments are unbelievably facile. There's no depth to them. There's no real analysis. It's just a facile statement. Yes, we've played Man City a couple of times and had to do an awful lot of defending, and once or twice we've even counter-attacked and won the game as a result of it. But that's not the 38-game season. You don't get the number of points we've got from 38 games in the last 3 seasons by trying to stay deep and hope for counter-attack. So I don't, once again, you start a question with a premise which I don't believe in, but I do think that at the moment, the last 3 games, that our attacking play has been particularly potent, and we're getting good reward, if you like, for the efforts the players put in on the training field and to improve their combinations, their understanding. We're getting some joy from it. Maybe in the past, without the joy, people didn't see the combinations.
How much will not having Christian at the weekend change the way you look to go forward? Because he does a lot to bring Wilfred and Andros and Everetchi into the game.
Yeah. He's been good. He's been very good. And of course, he's also in form, both in terms of his general play, like you've pointed out, and also in terms of his goal scoring. So there's no doubt he'll be a miss. And it's a miss which I not only regret, I really don't think it was justified. He should not have been sent off. We should have had a chance to play against them with 11 men, which I think would have caused them a lot of problems as we were playing well at the time. And we would have had a strong team at the weekend. But every football has a different story. This is our story tonight. We've had a player sent off, which we don't agree with, but it's happened. And now we'll have to find an answer to how the team should look at the weekend.
Cheers, Roy.
Pleasure.
Thanks, Jack. Matt Law.
Hi, Roy.
Hi.
Apologies if you've already answered this because I lost signal for a minute. I just wondered if you thought that on a second yellow card that VAR should be able to look at it. It seems a bit odd that for a straight red it can, but for a second yellow when someone's getting sent off it can't.
Yeah, perhaps I didn't even know that you couldn't do that for a second yellow card. So that was news to me, which I found out tonight. I think most importantly of all, it's a question of analysis and assessment of game situations. And there's no guarantee for me that another referee will have a different assessment of the situation than the referee on the field of play. But I and David Moyes, whom I spoke to about it, we are of the opinion that, there's going to be some sort of possibility of an arm brushing a face when 2 players are jumping with their arms in the air, trying to honestly win the ball. So that for me is the crucial factor. But all the time, it's like a lot of the penalties we've discussed. Penalties are being given for handballs, which I still cannot fathom. And today I've seen a centre forward sent off for 2 excellent aerial challenges and 2 yellow cards, which I can't fathom.
Cheers.
Okay, unless there are any more, we'll probably call it a day. Any other questions? Nope. Thanks very much,
Thanks a lot.
everybody. Cheers.